All right, we're going to talk about unleashing the power of partnerships. I really thank you guys for coming to a presentation you know nothing about. I'm a late addition to the roster. Somebody bailed. I don't know who. I don't know who to blame. But I got the slot, 4 o'clock, whatever today is. And I'm actually a Boston native, so it's nice to speak in my own city. I speak about 50 days a year around the world, and it's really nice to speak to a hometown crowd, even if it's only 30 people, my friends Steve and Mike, who came out to see me today, which I appreciate. All right, we're going to talk about partnerships, but first let me tell you just a quick little bit about me. I'm Andrew Davis. This is my mugshot picture, I hope, if I ever get arrested again, because I look very happy. You can find me on Twitter at TPLDrew. I used to work for the Jim Henson Company in New York, and get a shot of it, because it's going to move fast. I was part of the workshop team there. I've worked for the Obama administration, but now I am part of the team at Tipping Point Labs. I founded an agency about 11 years ago with a business partner of mine who came out of journalism. So we kind of have a melding of journalism and entertainment at our agency, Tipping Point Labs. So we're going to talk about a lot of stuff. I am really excited about my new book. This is a cover shot that I just took using Photoshop. I call it Brandscaping. I just got a shipment of the books literally yesterday. So I have 2 books to give away, and I was just telling these guys it's like dating. I don't know how I'm going to give them away, but I'll know it when I see it. So bear with me. I like an interactive crowd. If you hate what I'm doing, tell me. We'll talk about something else. Or I didn't bring any liquor. But the book's called Brandscaping, and it's all about unleashing the power of partnerships, which is what we're going to talk about today. What we're really going to focus on is the secret to unlocking kind of bigger budgets and driving faster results with a focus on the content, all right? So I'm in the agency world for a long time. I've been promoting and pitching content marketing as what we do primarily, as inbound marketing is the service we offer. But there are a bunch of problems that I've encountered along the way, especially with clients that we serve. Lots of really big consumer brands like Breville and Kraft and TomTom, financial services like Fidelity, MFS, Putnam Investments. Those guys, they have huge budgets, and they really have a hard time finding money for inbound marketing or content, quality content, which is what I want to focus on. And the second piece of the puzzle is how do you drive faster results, right? Like, if you're creating content, there's always this part of a conversation with every client that goes something like, hey, you can't rush it. Like, the results will come. You got to just trust me. Like, it's a long haul. Like, sign up today. Trust me. Don't worry about it. Trust me, seriously, we've done it before. How long did it take with them? It took a while, but don't worry, you're going to get it. And this is the problem that I've been trying to solve for years, and the partnerships is the key to actually unlocking that, driving that faster, quicker results for your clients. So here's a quick pop quiz, all right? 1, you sell fish, okay? Fish. Just put yourself in that mindset. You just got a big client. They're about to sign on. They sell fish. Now, they don't sell this kind of fish. Not salmon, like where steak, where you put a little salt and pepper, some olive oil, you throw it on the grill, you call it a summer meal. No, you sell this kind of fish, the aquarium type, a pet fish, right? And that's their job. That's exactly what they sell, and you've been hired to come up with an inbound marketing strategy for them. Now, maybe it's just, I'm just trying to get you in the mode of thinking where we're going here. Maybe it's liveaquaria.com, which is a big part of Foster & Smith. They sell fish, and they'll send them directly to you. Maybe it's an online property, or maybe it's a small mom and pop place like this, fishsupply.com. I don't know, that's potentially your client. They have this really happy looking fish here. Or maybe it's some really, really, really big brand like Petco who has aquariums in their stores, have fish in the stores, and that's who your client is, all right? So if you're focusing on B2B, what if it's a fish farmer, right? Okay, they grow and harvest fish to sell to these brands, and that's your opportunity. Now, what is your inbound marketing strategy for that? Throw something out. What's the first thing that comes to mind? What would you do? What are you going to deliver? Anyone? What? Personas. He's going to do very good. He's going to create some personas. Anybody else? What's that? Right, SEO. You're going to invest in SEO. What about on the content side? Anyone? How to what? Okay, perfect. Like you're going to write content about like your aquarium and your fish and stuff. Perfect. Okay, so this is the initial approach we've always taken with our clients. But what if you sell this kind of fish? Does this change your mind? Not this kind of fish, not the weird-looking kind of fish, this kind of fish. This kind of fish from 2003's movie. Is that, you start thinking differently? What about that kind of fish? So has everyone seen Finding Nemo? Raise your hand if you have not seen Finding Nemo. One person? Shit, I got to explain the whole plot for you. Anyway, okay, oh, you know the plot. Okay, she hasn't seen the movie. This is all you need to see. It's perfect. Thank you for admitting you know the plot. So this movie came out in 2003, all right? It's an unbelievably powerful film. We all know it was a really, really enjoyable watch. If you've seen it, if you haven't, you should. But Finding Nemo was also a giant box office success, right? It did $868 million at the box office. It's the best-selling DVD of all time still today. That's how powerful that movie is. Almost $1 billion at the box office. And if you've ever watched Finding Nemo with a 6-year-old, you know that after watching Finding Nemo with a 6-year-old, you end up hearing, I want a Nemo, if you ever walk into a pet store that happens to have fish that look anything like that goddamn clownfish. So this is what you hear all day long. I want a Nemo, 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 Nemo. How can you say no to that face? That is impossible, right? And if you're thinking of a content strategy or an inbound strategy, you have to start thinking like this. This is such a powerful way to actually sell product that they've named it the Nemo effect. What happened after Finding Nemo was that it decimated the global population of clownfish. It was so bad that fish farmers couldn't keep up with the supply. They had to go out and they raided the Great Barrier Reef. This is no lie. They went into the anemones, stole the clownfish, and sold them at Petco. I don't know if they sold them at Petco. Don't tell Petco. But at pet stores. That's literally how powerful that content was. And no pet store is thinking, hey, let's create a movie about a clownfish that gets lost in the Sydney Harbor, and like, I got a great idea. And it's a really hard thing to do. But it didn't just sell clownfish, it sold all the accoutrements, the crap that you need, right? It sold food, it sold filters, it sold fish tanks. And it didn't just sell clownfish. No, it actually sold catfish and goldfish and clownfish and Chinese fighting fish and rabbit fish and whatever freaking fish was in the store when the kid wouldn't stop saying, I want a Nemo, right? And you end up coming home with a fish named Nemo that doesn't look like Nemo, but that's okay. This is exactly what happens when you create valuable content. Still today, 9 years later, you can walk into any Walmart and buy this for $29.99, fish not included. But it's for illustration purposes only. But you can pick up a Finding Nemo aquarium starter kit. That's the value of valuable content. It's got unbelievable legs, it's entertaining, and it sells stuff. And this is not the first time Disney has done this. Disney did it first with 101 Dalmatians. The Dalmatian Effect, 1961, when that movie came out, kids wanted a Dalmatian. Well, guess what? Dalmatians make crappy-ass pets. It turned into an adoption crisis where parents all of a sudden realized these are really bad pets, let's give them away. So we can learn a huge amount as inbound marketers about what drives demand if we just think about what kind of valuable content would actually push not just our market, but everybody's market. Raise your hand if you know Google Insights, if you use Google Insights. Google Insights, not Google Analytics. Keep your hand up if you know Google Insights. Okay, good, a bunch of people. Okay, sometimes people are like, oh, analytics, no. Insights, wait, yes, analytics, no. Maybe it's the way I asked the question. All right, so Google Insights is a free tool that essentially tells you the zeitgeist of the online universe. And we use it as an agency to actually determine demand for any product in the marketplace. It is free, people. And if you think like your consumer and search what they're searching, it shows you the relative demand for that product over time. And in 2003, when the movie came back, it only goes back to 2004, by the way. I don't know why Google doesn't have that data. They had a data loss. But this is 1 year post the movie release, right? Huge demand for the word clownfish. And this directly correlates to sales. In every one of the clients we've ever worked on for this, we actually can watch this move. And you can see it just goes static until they re-release the DVD, and clownfish goes out the roof again. And you can, it's a relative search, right? So clownfish at 100, that's the biggest search term. This is 0. You got to start using Google Insights to understand the demand, because as soon as you do, you can start to track what actually increases and decreases demand. Valuable content increases demand for the products and services you sell. Did you hear that? I see some blank stares. One guy nodded. All right. He heard it. I know it's 4 o'clock. And a rising tide lifts all ships. This is the other key part of starting to understand the agency world of the future. You can't just market one client's product in a future where you think like Finding Nemo, right? Finding Nemo helped everybody's sales. So if you start embracing those ideas and start building content brands in the future, you'll own some intellectual capital and you'll help a bunch of clients who will come running to figure out how you actually can understand that you can sell more aquariums, fish tanks by just creating a YouTube show about a clownfish. Does that make sense? Okay, good. All right, so you sell goldfish or clownfish. Now let's talk about the agency problems. This is what I call CMO pizza. I'm going to walk you through this. If you guys have questions, raise your hand. It's a small group. I love it. And if you, yes, sir. Oh, thank you for asking. I figured you guys had seen 6 PowerPoint presentations, and I didn't want to deliver on the 7th. This is called Prezi, Prezi.com. It's a nonlinear presentation tool I've been using for about 3 years, and I tried to make a PowerPoint, but I gave up after like an hour. I was like, I don't know how to use this anymore. So give Prezi a shot. It's like a nonlinear, it's like a blank canvas, and you just zoom around. Oh, good. All right, well, I'm glad it's keeping you engaged at 4:11 before drinks. Okay, let's talk about CMO Pizza, Chief Marketing Officer Pizza. So this is like your respective client, today, tomorrow, and the future. And this is what they face. And I grew up in Houston, Texas. This is the Pizza Hut I used to go to after every single swim meet in the summer. It was an awesome pizza place called Pizza Hut. I don't know if you guys have heard of it. And anyway, I was standing behind a woman in line at Pizza Hut after one of these swim meets with a buddy of mine. And she orders a large pizza and a Diet Coke. And the guy behind the counter says, "Would you like that cut into 8 slices or 10? And she says, 8. I could never eat 10. And like, even at 13, I looked at my buddy and I'm like, what? I don't know if that may. And this is what's happening with marketing budgets for every marketing officer, right? Our marketing pie isn't getting any bigger. It's just getting sliced in more ways. And when we walk in and we say, let's invest in inbound marketing or content marketing or SEO or whatever, they're going, holy crap, where do I find the budget for that? I don't have a slice in my pie. And that's what you end up with when you look at this, right? This is a made-up budget. This is obviously. Every slice is the same. It looks like a pizza. But it's 100% of your marketing budget, right? And if you're a CMO, you're trying to track your advertising, promotions, your interactive, your social media, your events, your direct email, your public relations, I don't care what. Like you've got a pie that you just keep slicing and slicing. And if I walk in and I sound really awesome, they go, whoa, I got 100% of my pie. I can slice it some more ways and find some money for you, but it's not going to be a lot. We'll try it out, right? Does this sound familiar to anyone? This is the problem. So I decided, let's go after, where do we put inbound marketing, right? Where does that slice come out? Oh, I don't know, public relations or advertising. To me, if you're spending $8 billion a year, that's what's spent in the United States on public relations every year, $8 billion. Let's go after that money. And when people said, no, advertising is a pretty big budget, what's that? Oh, it's $600 billion every year? Yeah, I'll take a cut of that. This sounds pretty good to me. So this is what we did. And then I started wondering, well, why are all the CMOs I'm talking to investing in just these slices? And they've done it for a long time. And advertising and PR take that huge chunk out, and they don't even know why. Then I started asking, right, why are you investing in all this stuff? Well, they all talk about market share. Everybody familiar with market share? Okay, good. So I won't give you the lesson. But this is fake market share for widgets, right? And this is you. You can either focus your energy on stealing market share from people who are already convinced they need your kind of product, and then you're going to play a feature and benefit game, right? And you can like slice away until you get to this increased little share right down here. Go, zoom. Okay, there we go. This, right? And you can slowly take 1% from someone and 2% from somebody else, but your pie doesn't get any bigger. It stays exactly the same. And this is why they invest in advertising and PR. They want their brand in front of the consumer's mind so that when they decide they need that kind of product, you're the first one. That costs that's Super Bowl money, people. That's how you get your name in front of people all the time to the point at which they say, oh, I didn't know I even needed one of those things, but I know who gives one, can deliver one. That's the problem with just focusing on market share. So here's the takeaway. If you want to raise awareness, buy ads. You got to start talking to your clients with that kind of conviction. That's when your clients will start to understand, oh, I know why I'm buying advertising. It's to raise awareness for my brand. And I don't think we can take the whole pie, but I think we can start to have them rethink what the alternatives are. And that's what I want to talk about. If you start talking to them about increasing the size of the market, there's no CEO on the planet who wants to be a big fish in a small little market. Oh, well, it's just a $100 market in our area, and we've got like 80% market share. We're doing pretty good. Like, that doesn't work. What they want to see is the market growing. And if your market share stays the same, you can still double or triple the revenue you're bringing in. It doesn't matter that people are going to other competitors if your market keeps growing. And if you start helping your clients understand that you can increase demand for the products they sell, all of those people, I guarantee you can bring in all 5 of the competitors as clients. That's the opportunity of the agency in the future. Pick a category, stick with it, and increase demand for that category. Does that make sense? Okay. All right. So if you want to raise awareness, no one's getting a book. You got a book, man. What is your name? Ray? You're paying attention. Everyone else is staring at me like my zipper's down. Okay. We'll try it again. If you want to raise awareness, thank you. That was better. If you want to increase demand, okay, that's better. Thank God. All right. So that's CMO Pizza. Let's take another piece of the pie. I'm not going to do every piece, but we're going to do PR. Oh, no, we won't. We'll do that in a second. Let's do a secret rule of advertising. Raise your hand if you started as an ad agency person. Couple people. Okay, good. You can tell me if the secret's correct. But this is what I've always been told by every ad agency executive. There's a 90-10 rule, right? And it's just a base rule. It's like a rule of understanding. It's like the 80-20 rule, whatever. But, so not everyone operates this way. But if I were to characterize the approach, this is fair, right? Spend 90% of your budget on buying time or space, access to the audience. Spend 10% of your budget on creating the message, the assets, the campaign, right? No? Nodding? No? That's the wrong approach. That's the wrong approach. Exactly. This is what you're buying with 90% of your cash. When you start talking to a CMO or a CMO that they're just buying air, an empty fucking box where the time disappears, can you buy time? No, time disappeared. Like you can't buy time. You can buy space in a magazine, but guess what? That page wasn't there before you bought it. You bought a page that didn't exist, and then you bought it, and then now you have a page. You're not buying anything real. When you're talking about spending 10% on your assets, this is what you get. Huh? Okay, that's an asset? Even at an agency, they're like, hey, do you have those assets ready to send over to the media partner? I was wondering if you had all those assets, different size assets, big assets, small assets, same message and shit, but just different, put it on different stuff. That's what they talk about. And this is the problem, because you're buying access to an audience. The fact that agencies haven't started to change the way they think about this is like mind-numbing to me, because in today's world, everyone has an audience. That's the difference today. Everyone has an audience. You don't need media partners. You don't need to buy access to audience. Everyone in this room has an audience. You have fans, followers, friends, subscribers. You have a neighbor, if you're not even on social media, that I can get in touch with through you. Is that right? That's an audience to me. And we can scale that audience. Recognize this? Okay. This is Geico.
Insurance for over 70 years.
Yeah.
And who doesn't want value for their dollar?
I'm not going to turn it up because we've all seen the ads. But this Geico Gecko, in 2010, they spent $745 million on advertising. They're the #1 spender when it comes to advertising in the world. There are 19 flavors of insurance that Geico offers, which I didn't even know until I went to their website. I thought they sold car insurance and they could save me 15% on that, and I never bothered to find out any more. They don't sell geckos, but they can increase demand for them. I bet there's a lot of people that are like, I want one of those geckos. The little green monster. Do you have those, Petco? But if you took those 19 flavors of insurance they sell and just divided their $745 million, you end up with $39 million for each division to spend on something except advertising. So that's $35 million in air. It just disappears. It goes away as soon as you purchase it, and $4 million in different size assets that go on different websites or TV stations or radio networks. This is insane to me. Let's just take motorcycle insurance, right? This is their list of all their products, which I didn't know they had, but they just started advertising motorcycle insurance recently. And so that's why I picked it, motorcycle insurance. Well, guess what? That audience is owned by JMP Cycles. JMP Cycles is the world's largest aftermarket motorcycle parts and accessories superstore. I happen to know these guys. They have 50,000 customers that pay $50 a year to be part of their Gold Club. That's just their Gold Club. They have hundreds of thousands of customers that buy motorcycle parts every day from them. They are a huge reseller of product, and they create great content. This is one of their YouTube videos that I picked because it said love handles, and I didn't know what to expect, but apparently it involves a motorcycle and some tools. But you can see that the content quality is decent. They do great content outreach. These videos are highly watched by motorcycle enthusiasts who want to install some love handles and don't know how. And they do these on an infrequent basis with mediocre talent and no content brand behind it. So what if Geico invested $39 million in creating better content for JMP Cycles brought to you by Geico? Does that make sense? All of a sudden, they got directly to the motorcycle audience. They can pitch their motorcycle message in the context of a program that's valuable content to the consumer. That's the right way. And you're not buying air. They own assets then. They own some unbelievably good content created by JMP Cycles for their consumers, brought to you by Geico. It sounds like a better investment to me. What kind of content could they create for $39 million? I don't know. I know those guys. And if I said, hey, I got a check for $39 million, they'd shit their pants and have no idea how they're going to deliver $39 million worth of content. So just imagine that you took that and just said 10% to the top 10 motorcycle enthusiast web content creators or that own customers. Let's give them all $3.9 million. All of a sudden, you have a real strategy. So in the future, if you start helping your clients think like that, what can we do with your advertising budget that will deliver better results by finding someone who already owns your customer? Let's talk about movie marketing really quickly, because they have a secret rule as well. When I worked at the Jim Henson Company, I worked on Muppets from Space. Not the greatest movie, but I'm very proud to have hung out with Gonzo and Miss Piggy. This is the approach, all right? 20% of the budget goes into marketing the film. That's buying time or space to make people aware that the Muppets have a new movie or Finding Nemo is coming out, okay? 80% goes to creating the actual asset, the movie, that you own then, that generates $868 million in advertising. So that's $87 million for the movie and $22 million for marketing it. Does that make sense? If you want to raise awareness, yes, we're getting there. If you want to drive demand, okay, we're getting there. You guys all right? Any questions? We have 22 minutes and a lot more. I think there's like 100 left. Okay. All right, so ask yourself who already owns your audience, especially when you're talking about a client's audience. That'll help you drive those results faster. Okay, so we talked about advertising a lot. Let's talk about PR really quickly. This is a really good music video.
I'm too sexy for my love, too sexy for my love, love's going to leave me.
Okay, I won't play the whole song. But if you like PR, you're going to love Right Said Fred. That's all I have to say. This is Mark Malkoff. Mark Malkoff is a comedian and filmmaker. You know Mark? Steve must be friends with Mark. They're very similar guys. Both funny, both filmmakers, and really talented. Does anyone remember Mark Lives at IKEA? No? Okay. I'll quickly give you the story.
My name is Mark Malkoff.
Yeah.
I live in New York City, the greatest city.
Okay, so Mark lives in New York. He's kind of a PR stunt guy's dream. He went to 171 Starbucks in New York in one 24-hour period and went crazy doing it. But he got a lot of press and PR for Starbucks. He also started the Naked Cowboy in Times Square. That's what he's well known for. But one day he was actually getting his apartment fumigated and had to be out for a week from the landlord. And he didn't know what to do. But then he realized all his furniture was IKEA furniture in his whole house. And why don't he just sleep at IKEA for the week instead of trying to find a couch to sleep on? And that's what he did. He essentially went to IKEA's PR firm and said, can I sleep there? Here's my plan. I want to make a little film, put it on YouTube. And he showed up at IKEA, and they let him do it. he basically created a series of videos every day and put them online. It was unbelievably successful. He hung out with the security guy. He like ran around in his PJs at night. He was so successful doing it, his wife got pissed off that he hadn't been home essentially with her for a week. And he was really upset. And he actually convinced Lisa Loeb, the singer, to come and serenade her at the IKEA store, which was pretty amazing. So this is...
I arranged a personal concert for us today with Lisa Loeb.
So she showed up, and Lisa... It's one of my... I like her glasses. She's very sexy. Side note. I was going to think that, not say it. So Lisa did this basically for a desk set. She said, all I need is an IKEA desk set and I'll come do it. And she did it. So Mark Malkoff was a PR dream for these guys. And the PR agency actually won multiple awards. IKEA said it was their most successful campaign in US IKEA history. US is important there. 382 million positive impressions. That's how PR measures it, right? There are 300 million people in the United States. A bunch of people watched it extra times, if I do my math right. But anyway, that store actually saw an increase in sales. That's a result I want to, like that I would focus on, right? There was $13,000 in costs. They agreed to cover Mark's filming costs. 25 videos, 1.5 million views. And let's see, it lasted a week, 1 week. Right Said Fred was at the top of the charts in 1997 for 2 weeks. 2 weeks, people. PR is about as successful, even when it's really successful, as Right Said Fred. So if you love Right Said Fred, you should invest in PR. Don't tell your client that. That's just my point of illustration. But when I walk into an IKEA, this is what I see. I come out of the video production world. This is the Gossip Girl studio set, right? It looks like a house to me. I couldn't tell, but I walk into an IKEA, this looks like a movie set. It looks like a TV set. Mark's a comedian and a filmmaker. Why didn't Mark use that PR opportunity to turn into a nightly talk show live from IKEA in Paramus, New Jersey? Why couldn't he benefit from that audience that he garnered and turn it into a frequently delivered, relevant content that actually delivers value long-term for the client? PR doesn't think that way. They're one-hit wonders. This is a set of a talk show. You can turn an IKEA into a talk show set, a cooking set, a lounge set, a whatever set. They have everything there. And it would perfectly showcase what they do. Mark didn't think of that. Ketchum didn't think of that because all they think about is that one-hit wonder. That's all they want. And if you're going to help PR actually win, you want to help your clients understand that if you have a long-term content strategy that's about building a content brand, which we'll get to, that's going to actually deliver long-term results because you can capitalize on those single hits, all right? So this is a single hit. You guys remember Will It Blend?
Will it blend? That is the question.
Okay, so these guys were an overnight success, right? All of a sudden in 2007, they blended an iPhone, right? Remember Google Insights? This is what happened when they newsjacked that. Have you guys read Newsjacking by David? Okay, good. So this is what happened when they newsjacked it. Giant increase in interest in blend tech and Will It Blend, right? You can see that spike there. They had been doing this since 2006. They had built Will It Blend into a content brand. They weren't focused on just that one hit. They knew that they could capitalize on that audience. And instead of having a spike like traditional PR, they had actually took 3 months for that interest to wane, not even back to the bottom, but to an elevated cycle. Does that make sense? So if you help clients really think about they're not getting the biggest benefit out of any PR agency if they're just focused on the one-hit wonders, you can start thinking like this. If you like Right Said Fred, buy more PR. But if you want to increase demand, create it. If they buy content, you'll be out of a business. That's the whole point. But you must have come in late. No, I'm kidding. All right. Here's one of the problems I see in the marketplace. It's the content bubble. And this is essentially a quote I took out of Ad Age, all right? I'll let you guys read it because you can all read. I can take some water. This is a guy, Kyle Monson. I don't necessarily agree with him, but I do believe there's a content bubble. He's from JWT, J. Walter Thompson, one of the biggest ad agencies in the world. This is what he goes on to say. And I just highlight the two words that I think are important. Advertisers think about campaigns. They think campaign. Even if you do email newsletters for your clients, if you think in campaigns, I think you're missing out on the biggest opportunity long term. It's not about campaigns. This is not a campaign. Inbound marketing is about building a relationship, leveraging valuable content with your customers and clients, Mr. Client. Does that make sense? That's where you get the value. But we do have a content bubble. And I actually think it's going to get worse and worse. And it's a factor of what I call an information overload paradox. I like making up fancy names for shit that's really simple to explain. Just because there's more information available doesn't mean one can consume more. And this is part of the problem with the internet age, all right? This is 1950, that's today. The black line is the perceived amount of information available. The gray line is the information you actually consume, right? So in 1950, there wasn't a big gap. You got your local newspaper, you listen to the radio station, you maybe watch TV at night, you got a magazine or two. And you didn't think there was that much more out there. Oh, I don't get that magazine. There's only 2 newspapers, but I only get 1. Like, that was your thinking, right? 1990 comes along, the cable network explosion. All of a sudden, there's more and more and more, right? And all of a sudden, people are like, CNN International, CNN Headline News, CNN News, CNBC, MSNBC, Fox News. I don't know, CNN Sports Illustrated, where did that go? ESPN, ESPN News, ESPN E-News, ESPN EDU. I don't know what the hell they are. All of a sudden, people start realizing, wait, I can't watch all that news. I can't watch all that stuff. And this is what happens when we get to the internet era. It just explodes, right? This can't get much bigger. You still got to take a crap in the morning, people. You still got to walk your kids. You got to take them to the school bus, whatever it is. You can't consume more at some point. And this is the perceived opportunity. When you guys are selling like 8 number of blog posts or 7 whatevers, like you're contributing to information overload. And this is a problem. There's going to be backlash. People are going to stop trying to consume everything when they realize it's going to be impossible. You have to start thinking about the actual opportunity. Can I just own one moment in my consumer's day? Can I own one day in their mind? Will It Blend doesn't deliver video every day. They don't tweet about all sorts of other shit. They don't post blog posts about 50 other things. They deliver Will It Blend every 2 weeks for 5 years, and that's how they build a brand. That's how they triple their growth. That's how they actually innovate new product. That's it. You own a piece of their mind. And that's the opportunity if you think about building a content brand for your clients. Does that make sense? Any questions about information overload? I'm going to run out of time. We can skip them all. No, I'll go quickly because I'm not going fast enough. I want you to start thinking about your marketing, especially when it comes to content, as a mall, right? There are anchor tenants. In this mall, there's Whole Foods, and there's a Showcase Cinema Deluxe. These kinds of things, these anchor tenants, define the frequency and the quality of client that's going to come to that mall. That's it. So if there's a Whole Foods, I can start to guarantee that more people are going to come more often. If it's a movie theater, I can say it's going to be a weekend destination. Do you see what I'm saying? And if it's a Whole Foods versus, like a crappy store, that all of a sudden you're going to get a different kind of clientele than Crappy Store. The Crappy Store is not a real brand. Don't Google it. All right, but then you end up with a great tenant mix if you start looking at all these other people who want to benefit from that. And next thing you know, shopping at Whole Foods or going grocery shopping isn't a chore, it's an experience, right? You go to Whole Foods, you buy your groceries, you realize you're hungry, you want to go to P.F. Chang's, you decide to see a movie, you buy an accessory at the Apple Store. What do? You increase your stay and you spend more. That's mall marketing, right? What is mall marketing when it comes to us? Anchor content, all right? You want to build a content brand around which it defines your brand and the frequency with which people are going to engage with it. Will It Blend? That's a content brand. You see where it says presented by Blendtec? It's not called Blendtec's amazing blender stuff. That's not hard. That's not easy to share. It's not fun to get a relationship with it. Will It Blend is. It's a content brand. There are T-shirts you can buy with Will It Blend on. That's the marker of good content when they start selling the stuff. This is Deloitte, right? Huge company. They have a great content concept called Deloitte Debates. Really good idea, except it's Deloitte Debates. That's branded content, not a content brand. Make sense? They actually create a really good format, a recipe for their content that I think is awesome. It's just too much about them. And I'm not going to share Deloitte Debates with even any CEO I know because it's Deloitte Debates. It's got no personality, no brand behind it. But if it was some other thing, what about Gary Vee? Gary Vee created Wine Library TV. He didn't create, he created a personal brand within that, all right? He did it 1,000 times. He set an expectation with his audience that every day he was going to deliver a brand, and he didn't deviate. 2 to 4 things, 2 to 4 wines every episode, and he delivered on it. This is his first episode, or second episode, I think.
Hello everyone, and welcome to episode 2 of Wine Library TV. I'm your host, Gary Vaynerchuk, Director of Operations. Today we are going to visit the wonderful and interesting world of Pinot Grigio. Pinot Grigio is...
Okay, that's a different Gary Vee than we know, right? But that's episode 2. It's the same episode except with flashier graphics when he goes to episode 998, right? He gets fancy, but he does the same stuff. Oh, sorry, that's really loud. Oh, that was, okay.
Hello everybody, and welcome to Wine Library TV. I am your host, Gary Vaynerchuk, and this, my friends, is the Thunder Show, aka the...
Same show. It's got lots more gimmicks, lots more pizzazz, it's got sexy-ass graphics, but he didn't deviate. He delivered it for 1,000 episodes. So quick lessons. I'm just going to go through these quickly. Appointment consumption. This is from Appointment TV. Set an expectation for your audience and deliver on it religiously. I don't care how bad the content sucks in the beginning. Just keep doing it until you get it right. You need a repeatable recipe like Gary Vee, right? Where you start to build a brand that people can trust and understand, because people build a relationship with the format first. When you watch a TV show for the first time, you don't know any of the characters. You don't have a relationship with those characters. You build a relationship with the pacing of the show, the format that they deliver on. And then you love the characters later. That's exactly what happened to Gary Vee. That first video sucks, to be honest. I don't think I would tune in again. But he says he's going to do it tomorrow, and I watch and I watch and I watch. You need talent your audience trusts. Gary has charisma. He's a great piece of talent. But you can find the same kind of talent by looking for partners, and you need a smart hook, which is this familiar twist, something people already understand, but you can twist it a little bit to make it more relevant to them, to make it your own. Those things make sense? All right, I'm going to give you a quick example of this, and then I'm going to have to speed up, or we can opt to stay late. Sorry, I didn't. This is the first time I've given the brandscaping stuff. Are you guys all right? Okay, good. All right, so we're going to talk about blog to brand just quickly, but. This is an agency here in Boston, Com Creative. Raise your hand if you know these guys. One person. Okay, are you from Boston? I'm originally from Massachusetts. I live in Indianapolis is a great city. Okay, I don't know. How do you know Com Creative? I'm not sure. Damn, I thought you were going to be an awesome plant. I'm going to give you a book for that, just for participating and entertaining me. If it had gone right, it would have been awesome. Just so you know. I was going to transition right into why it's so powerful, but it's apparently not that powerful. He made it up. He doesn't fucking know Com Creative. Okay, no, I believe you. All right, Com Creative is an ad agency here in Boston. They're very good at what they do, but they were having a marketing meeting basically at the end of a long day. They ordered in Chinese. They came up with their unbelievably smart blog strategy that they've been working all night on. They opened up the fortune cookies, and Miles Bristow, the CMO of the company, said, wouldn't it be funny if all we did was take the fortune cookie and open it every day and make the fortune cookie relevant to marketing advice? That's genius. They scrapped their 6 hours worth of work, and they created today's marketing cookie. I don't know Miles Bristow, I've never met him, but this is genius, easy, simple format. He just started this in March, right? This is one I submitted. It got so popular so fast that people started taking pictures of their own fortune cookies and sending it to Miles and say, this one's tough. Like, try to do it with your favorite numbers are 5, 4, 9, and 7. Like, you're screwed. But he's done an amazing job of delivering on it every single day. And this is the kind of email sign-up sheet you want. Subscribe to today's Marketing Cookie Challenge. And he tells you exactly what to expect in your inbox. And I guarantee every day he emails this to me. And every day I actually say, oh, I can make 2 minutes to decide if I want to read this. He owns a moment in my day. He sends a summary every week. And that's the one I forward around. It's the one I can tell people things about. I didn't know Miles at all. I built a relationship with his content and then said, you know, who writes these damn things? This is so smart. Oh, it's a guy named Miles Bristow. Now I know Miles is the author of this. That I built a relationship with the format and the content brand before I cared who delivered me the content. He does this every time, every day. He's written so much marketing cookie content that he has 70,000 words. That book is 70,000 words. He could publish a marketing cookie book today that I would buy because I don't want to sift through his damn blog site looking for the post I wanted or the advice and insight I think is so smart. He's turned it into a Pinterest strategy. These things evolve into brands that permeate channels. They become something that people want a marketing cookie t-shirt about. I want the first one if he ever creates a marketing cookie t-shirt, because that's my idea now. No, okay. So you need to ask yourself why you don't treat your content like a platform, like a product, like a brand in the marketplace. Brand it. Own it. That's intellectual property. You can talk to a CFO and say, if we create marketing cookie and we put a little TM at the end, can you attribute a value to that? All of a sudden, you took a marketing expense and turned it into an asset. We've done this with clients where the CFO goes, oh, $100,000 on that YouTube video strategy that you now call this, that's an asset. That's ownable intellectual property. That's no longer an expense. How would you like to not have to talk about ROI because the expense is a write-off as an asset, that it attributes their brand? That's the future of agency work in my world. You got to think about the content bubble and build yourself some anchor content. So I'm quickly going to talk about the idea of leveraging the partnerships through content to actually drive that faster result, okay? If you're building a content brand and your client is going to invest in creating content once a week, you're not selling 8 blog posts a week anymore, you got to start thinking about what can you do to actually show results, measurable results, fast. And it's a simple idea, all right? Someone has your next customer as their current customer. That's it. Your audience is one of the most valuable assets you own. I don't care if it's an Excel spreadsheet, in a Google Doc, in a CRM, your audience is one of your most undervalued assets, and you're concerned that you don't know what to do with it. Your audience is an asset somebody else could leverage if they had great content for you to share. And all of a sudden, that's how it works. It's a very symbiotic relationship, all right? So let's look at Rubber Tracks. This is just a very quick, and this is a big idea, but I want you guys to just synthesize the way it works, all right? So how does fashion, you know, as an industry, start to move product? How do they increase demand? They create valuable content? Sure, but if you're taking the PR approach, you give some Converse to Kurt Cobain, you make Slash smoke a cigarette with some Converse on, you tell Justin Bieber, here's some free Converse, you get Lil Wayne to do a concert with some Converse on, right? You look at those influencers and invite them to be part of your brand, or it happens naturally. Well, Converse, their CMO is really, really smart guy, and understands that, wait a second, like we live in a world where everybody has an audience. Why am I sending shit to Lil Wayne? What about the guy that's trying to start a band in Indianapolis, right? What do I do about him? Well, they started Rubber Tracks, which is Converse's studio. It's a recording studio in Brooklyn, New York, and they actually have a mobile one now that was just in Toronto. Rubber Tracks debuted in July of 2011 in what was an old dry cleaning factory in Brooklyn. And they basically partnered with Ewok One and Shepard Fairey to even do the graffiti on the outside of the building. This is not like some dinky-ass studio, right? It's unbelievable equipment in this studio. There's beautiful couches and fancy mixing boards for the people to come in. Any band can sign up for one day in the Rubber Tracks studio, free of charge, no strings attached. We don't own your music, blah, 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 blah. We just provide you with all the services you need to finally get your music done. You don't even have to take the shoes we give you free if you want. You can leave them there. We don't care because we want to be there at the very beginning of a budding brand, right? This is their lobby waiting area. So since July of 2011, they've been producing amazing content. They have a track of the week that they distribute. And that's all they have to say is, hey, yeah, I'd love for you to share our music with your 24 million Facebook fans. That's pretty good exposure for like a guy from Indianapolis with 2 friends who's trying to start a hardcore band, right? I pegged you from the moment you walked in. Okay, so Rubber Tracks is a smart concept. But who owns that customer already? Who already owns that music customer? Oh, well, what about Guitar Center? That would be a good idea. So they partnered with Guitar Center. Guitar Center donated, as part of the partnership and their resources melding, all of the equipment, everything you see in there that has something to do with music is from Guitar Center. And what did the Guitar Center get out of it? Great content. Converse Rubber Tracks, there's a series of episodes called Geek Out. It's meant for the Guitar Center audience, and it's all about all the equipment, the stuff you need. It's really geeky content that's unbelievably popular. And what do? They share it with their audience. All of a sudden, Converse's Rubber Tracks went right to the audience they were trying to get to. Does that make sense? Does everybody understand? And overnight, they got that audience. Guitar Center email blasted everybody and said, we donated all the shit that's in this great studio. Watch all these great songs. They didn't have to wait with the slow grow strategy of, I hope somebody watched my YouTube video and refresh. Oh, 3, I got another one. That was me. Shit. Okay, refresh. This is the problem. So if you start thinking about the content partnerships your clients need to succeed with the content you're creating, you're going to be much more successful. So that's the easy brandscape. And I'll just show you one way to conceptualize it, all right? This is Amazon's QuickBooks page, right? If you go down the Amazon QuickBooks page, think of it as your customer also bought what? I don't care if you're selling services, if they're buying actual products. What are the products that would show up there? Those are your brandscape partners. Like, oh, label makers, Windows 7, a neat desktop scanner. Look, bookkeeping for dummies. That's bizarre. Let's go and see. Look who wrote that book. She has a crappy-ass website. What if we were into it and we helped her build a better website and offered her access to our audience of small business people who need accounting advice and would love to buy her freaking book because we know they already do? That's the right kind of partnership immediately. They get content out of it. They get access to the audience. She gets a better website that can actually long-term drive that partnership. Does that make sense? Think of it as that you also would buy. So brandscaping is that. It's NASCAR for your marketing. It's a marketing symbiosis that at the end of the day brings like-minded brands together and their respective audiences to create content that increases demand and drives revenue. Make sense? All right, so I'm going to give you some quick keys to success, and then I have one more wrap-up thing, I think. You guys all right? You can leave if you have to, I understand. All right, quick keys to success. If you're going to be successful with this as an agency or as a participant in a brandscape, you have to have the confidence to invest in the content of others and the belief that their audience, no matter how small, is valuable to you, okay? It's about quality of audience. So if somebody has 100 email people in their email database, that might be valuable if you know who they are and they're the people you want to reach. 2, you need the humility to believe that your customers care about more than just your products. Customers don't live in like a singularly branded world. Converse knew that, right? They said, you know what? They go to Guitar Center a lot more than they buy shoes. Let's talk to Guitar Center. They have a relationship with that brand. And you need the willingness to pool your resources and share your audience. That's the biggest problem. Sharing your audience with others is a really key piece of making brandscaping work. All right, so this is the giant journey we've been on. And I'm going to take you back to Nemo for a second and just think about a different type of brandscape, okay? So we know that valuable content increases demand for the products and services you sell. Sorry, are you guys getting dizzy? I'm just going faster because I know there's a drink. If you get dizzy, it's like an IMAX. Just hold the seat and close your eyes for a second, and then you'll be back on. What if we thought about a brandscape for the pet stores? If everyone has an audience, there are 8,700 pet stores in the United States. There's an association for those pet stores that they're members of. A lot of them are members of. Let's say they said, we only have 100 customers each. That's a lowball assumption. And that would give us 870,000 people that we can now communicate with if we created some valuable content. All right, so what would we do next? Let's pool our resources. Let's just pool money. Let's make it really easy. What if we got $1,000 for every one of those pet stores? Now we have a budget of $8.7 million to create some valuable content to give to those 870,000 people almost immediately, right? What if we turn that into a weekly budget, $160,000 a week? That's an account I'd like to win, now that I think about it. But what do you do with all that money, right? So here's an idea. This is from 2001, a show called Pets. This is JP. He's a bald parrot. And Pets was a BBC show that was short-lived that was basically raunchy pets living in an apartment complex. I'll play just a brief.
What are you doing, Trevor? Spag off. Charming.
If you must know, it's a protest. Sort of political act. I am covering the walls with my own feces.
Okay, so this was Pets, right? But the simple premise was, what do pets do when the owners aren't home? It's like a genius, simple hook, right? So what if we took that same simple hook for pet stores and said, oh, let's just take that hook and turn it into a kids show? What if it was essentially Sesame Street meets Pets? What if we took representative characters for the products they want to sell in pet stores, fish, rabbits, gerbils, I don't know what they sell, and we created a 15-minute weekly show for kids, and we distributed it on Amazon or Netflix or YouTube? What if we told our audience it was there? This is how you try to get that. I don't even know how to get that original budget from Pets, which was $10,000 an episode, to $160,000 a week. Like, you have to try really freaking hard to actually find a use for that money. But it's available if we start thinking about brandscaping to increase demand for an entire category instead of worrying about our specific clients' needs. You'll attract clients faster and deliver bigger results. Because what does a kid show turn into? A huge manufacturing and merchandising powerhouse. This is like a Sesame Street mobile store. If you're pitching ideas this big, it starts to look like content intellectual property. Like, hey, let's do a nationwide tour where we go to all 8,700 stores and we sell characters from our shows. That gets people out. What if we had a live show, a live version of it, right? What if we took the songs from it and turned it into an album? What if we had books on how to take care of your pets brought to you by the cast of characters from our newly created show? That gets people in the store. That's how you leverage a content brand. So how would this work? If you want to increase demand, oh, you guys, we lost steam. It was going to be a big finish. I'm really bummed out. Okay. No, I'm pretty much done myself. I need some more water. Okay. Well, so this is the journey we've been on, and I'm just going to leave you with one action item. I know this. I do how to think presentation, not a how-to presentation. And I want to give you just something to walk away with. I want you to call one of your existing partners when you get back next week and ask them what kind of content you could create to help them sell something. Does that make sense? What can forget about me. I know that when people buy your product, the next product they buy is mine. What can I do to help people get your product in their hands? And that's when people will start really having a good idea of how you can increase demand for the products and services they're selling. So that's brandscaping. Brandscaping is really easy if you just start that way, okay? All right, I did bring some copies of my book. I'm happy to sell them to you if you guys are interested. $20 includes shipping because you're here. So you can find me online at brandscapingbook.com, and I will actually, at brandscapingbook.com/inbound12, you can order the book if you don't want to carry it home. I travel a lot, and I know carrying an extra book can be a pain, but you'll get the same pricing online. What's that? Not yet. It's actually not released yet, so this is like the pre-release party. And the first time I've done a brandscaping presentation for anyone. So I'm glad that the extra people came, and I thank you very much for your time. Thanks, guys.